Okay, welcome back. Today is the second day of our 5-day series, Break Free from the Survival Mode Trap, 5 days to start thriving overseas. I am very glad to see you back here today. And I know that if you're here, it means that you are committed to taking the steps you need to take in order to build a thriving life abroad. So if you're joining today for the first time, maybe you're watching on Facebook or Instagram, or you caught the replay, or you're just getting started with us today, I'm really glad that you're here. And over the last few minutes, we've been talking about what we took away from yesterday. And I love what one person shared, just knowing that I'm not alone, and that we can keep going, put in the effort, don't give up. Because yesterday we explored the survival mode trap and how it keeps us stuck in stress and stagnation, and why recognizing that pattern is the first step towards breaking free. So if you haven't had a chance to share from the homework yesterday on our Facebook community, please go ahead and do so, because that can open up conversation for all of us. What we were doing yesterday as a homework was reflecting on how survival mode or culture shock has shown up in your life. And that awareness is going to open the door then for us to find out how to move forward. And that is what we're going to do today. But actually, when we did this 7-day series back in February, it was the first time that we did it. And the second day, we jumped right into the path out and all of the ways that you can take small steps to build momentum. And it was really exciting. But we got some feedback that people were like, wait a second, I am still exhausted and overwhelmed. I can't do that yet. And so we actually reorganized the structure a bit this time around. And so that's why today, day 2, we are focusing on rest, which is a surprising secret to consistency and resilience that most people overlook. It might sound counterintuitive, but rest may be the key to you actually accomplishing your goals. It's not about being lazy or giving up. It's about recharging your mental and emotional batteries so that you can show up consistently for what matters most. Now, I know that some of you might be thinking, rest, that's great in theory, but I have so much to do. I'm too busy just trying to survive every day and figure out everything in this new country and this new culture. But here's what I want you to consider. What if rest were not a luxury, but actually a tool that can make your life abroad easier, clearer, and more productive? Most expats think that the key to adjusting faster is to just try harder, to keep pushing, to keep trying to figure things out, to keep forcing themselves forward, even when they're exhausted, overwhelmed, and mentally drained. My friend here is being a little bit mouthy this evening, so I'm going to let him sit with me. But science actually tells us that just forcing ourselves forward is basically the worst thing that you can do. Pushing through exhaustion reduces your ability to problem solve, to regulate emotions, and make good decisions. All really important skills that are critical while trying to adjust to life overseas. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Survival mode has been keeping me just hiding behind a smile to keep my struggles out of view of others, which has caused breakdown in some situations. Oh, that's so true. When we are trying to just keep pushing our way forward, but we're not really taking care of ourselves, and when there's sort of this kind of mask that we're wearing, that can be really fragile, because everything that's happening on the inside is just about to burst through, and all the more when we're exhausted. Thank you for sharing that. So that's exactly why rest matters. When we are navigating life in a different country, our brains are working overtime. And especially when we're trying to manage the expectations of others and we're trying to show up as somebody who can function and who has their life together, while we don't feel that way at all. It's like running a marathon without ever stopping to refuel. But rest is what gives us the energy, clarity, and focus to stay consistent, even when life feels overwhelming. So, we're not just going to talk about it, we're actually going to take a pause right now. So wherever you are, I know people are joining from different places. You might be just on Facebook at this moment, but I want to invite you to give yourself permission to just pause. And there's a few different things that we can do to help ourselves become more present within our surroundings, within our body. And so I'm going to walk you through a few of those things. And wherever you are right now, just give yourself permission to be fully present. So maybe notice the space that you're in, look around, see what's around you. Maybe notice some of the colors that you can see. How many different colors do you see? Notice the sounds. What can you hear? I can hear someone in the next room, and I can hear the whir of a fan blowing. Anything that you can smell? What do you feel physically? Maybe you feel cool air or warm air. If the sun's shining on you, you could feel that. Maybe you feel your clothes or your shoes. I feel this puppy dog in my lap. Anything that you can taste. Now maybe you could close your eyes. Now that you're present in the space that you're in, give yourself to be present in your own body. Maybe take a deep breath or two. What do you feel in your body? Are there places where you feel tension? Can you find a place in your body that feels calm? You might even notice some pain somewhere in your body. Just notice yourself and take a deep breath or two and just allow your body to relax. Now we're going to do something really brave. I'm going to invite you to 2 minutes of silence. And during that 2 minutes, you can maybe just continue to focus on your breath and what you feel, what you're noticing. You can maybe picture somewhere beautiful. You can notice the thoughts that are running through your mind. You can give yourself permission to slow your thoughts or let them just keep passing by. But I'm going to stop talking for 2 minutes and just invite you to rest, to be. Let's begin. One more minute. Okay, take one more deep breath. And let's come back together. So I would love to hear your response in the chat. What was that like for you? How do you feel after giving yourself permission to just stop? Was it hard to do? It's a bit difficult to find that peace on a train full of people. I love that example because I can both see the challenge and a little bit of fun in trying to just come to a place of peace, even while so much is going on around us. And it's such a good metaphor of what we're really talking about today, because we are living in a world where all kinds of things are happening around us. There's people who are near to us, people that we don't know, and so much going on around us. But it's a little bit revolutionary to say, no, I'm going to come to a place of peace anyway. Yeah, I love that. You were able to focus on your breath and just absorb the view out the window. Yeah, that is exactly what we're talking about. Because as much as there's so much going on that can get in our way of really taking the time to give our minds and our bodies and our souls the rest that we need, it is possible. And even if it's not a full day of solitude in a forest or by an ocean, we can take a few minutes that we give ourselves permission to not just be busily trying to solve another problem. And we can do that even on a train full of people. Yeah, that's beautiful. So research tells us that rest has so many good benefits for us. First of all, it recharges our energy. When you are rested, you have the energy to tackle challenges head on. It gives you increased clarity, enabling you to think more clearly and make better decisions. It reduces burnout. As you take intentional breaks, you can keep making progress without hitting a wall. When you're rested, you're less likely to doubt yourself or feel overwhelmed by setbacks, increasing resilience and confidence. And rest activates your parasympathetic nervous system, which promotes relaxation, recovery, and restoration, slowing your heart rate, deepening your breathing, reducing blood pressure and stress hormones like cortisol, even improving digestion and other body repair and maintenance. This helps counterbalance the effects of the sympathetic nervous system, which drives that fight or flight response, which is often triggered during stress and overwhelm and this period of adjustment while living overseas. So, wow, rest is what we need. It really is. And research shows that when we don't get enough rest, our emotional regulation, cognitive abilities, and resilience all suffer, impacting our mood and emotional stability. When we don't have enough rest, and we all know this, we all know, they talk about when you haven't had something to eat that you might get hangry. hungry, angry, but I think I'm more likely to get tangry, tired, angry. We have increased emotional reactivity when we are deprived of sleep because it causes the amygdala, which processes fear and emotion, to become 60% more reactive to negative stimuli. So small stressors feel bigger and we're more prone to irritability, anxiety, and overwhelm. When we don't have enough sleep, it's harder for us to pick up on social cues and regulate our emotions and connection with others. Lowered emotional intelligence, which we know we desperately need as expats who are navigating new cultural norms. Chronic lack of sleep raises cortisol levels, keeping the body in a constant state of fight or flight, making it harder to adapt to new situations. It also impacts our competence and our cognitive abilities when we don't get enough sleep. Sleep deprivation impairs the prefrontal cortex, which handles complex thinking, decision making, and self-control, which makes facing the challenges that we have as expats harder to navigate. It can also affect our neuroplasticity, making it harder for us to retain new cultural knowledge, language skills, and problem-solving strategies. Have you ever heard that in a language course, that maybe what you need is a little more sleep instead of cramming vocabulary? Research shows that after 17 to 19 hours without sleep, our cognitive abilities decline as much as if we were legally drunk. So we desperately need sleep and rest, because you can't build a thriving life on an exhausted mind. Resilience, the ability to adapt, bounce back, and thrive in uncertainty, is directly tied to how well we rest and recharge. Studies show that well-rested people regulate stress and negative emotions better, and that they are more adaptable, that we make better decisions and handle challenges with greater clarity when we're well-rested. We are 3 times more likely to describe ourselves as fulfilled and content when we're well-rested. Well-rested people have more optimism. One study found that people with better sleep habits had higher resilience scores and a greater ability to reframe negative experiences. So, what if instead of seeing rest as a break from productivity, you saw it as a key and essential step towards thriving, towards productivity, towards achieving your goals? Because rest is not a luxury that you earn. It is a proven tool, a necessity for rewiring the brain for resilience, problem solving, and confidence. So, if you've been feeling extra frustrated, stuck, or on edge since moving abroad, your brain might just be in survival mode because it hasn't had enough recovery time, sleep, and rest. And this is one of those tricky things where we can start to use should to actually turn something wonderful like this gift of rest into one more thing that I should be doing that I'm not doing enough of, and beat ourselves up for that too. So please don't should yourself. It doesn't matter if you should be tired or you shouldn't be tired. I know I do that. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm so tired today, but I shouldn't be tired. And so I try to push myself through. But the fact is, our bodies don't lie, and they do keep the score. So if your body is saying you're exhausted, whether or not you think you should be. There's so many real life examples that I have. I can think of one client in particular who was very overwhelmed, exhausted all the time, and couldn't realize or recognize why. And as we began to look at everything that she was doing to try to compensate for this new life overseas and made a list of everything that she was doing, all of a sudden this aha went off and she was like, wow, No wonder I'm exhausted. I had no idea how busy I was. I kept thinking I shouldn't be tired, but the reality is that I'm putting in way more effort all day, every day than I realized. And when she understood that, it was easier for her to give herself permission to rest. And that made it easier for her to do the things that she wanted to do. So, one of the things that is fascinating about rest is that modern neuroscience is proving what many ancient cultures have known for thousands of years. Intentional rest isn't just a good idea, it is key to a long, fulfilling life. Studies on Sabbath keeping cultures show that people who take a weekly rest day experience lower stress, increased life satisfaction, and stronger emotional resilience. Some of the longest living communities in the world all practice a version of weekly or ritualized rest, leading to longer lifespans and better mental health. Regular rest boosts problem solving and creativity, giving you what you need to navigate your challenges overseas more effectively. So, if the most successful, resilient cultures on earth prioritize rest, why shouldn't we? And I know I mentioned yesterday that I started out as the overworked expat and just pushed myself so hard to make up for, my lack of capacity. And I remember that by my third year living overseas, there was a period of time in which I had not taken a full day off in over 6 months. And I was just running on adrenaline, just nonstop. And actually, this idea of a Sabbath, of a weekly day of full stop rest, actually transformed my life. Because as I began to give myself permission to stop for one day, that actually changed my whole mentality, because I realized, oh, the world can survive. I can survive. The people who are important to me can survive for one day without me trying to hold the world together. And as I took that kind of leap of faith to kind of trust and rest, I saw some things even actually worked themselves out while I was resting, and I didn't have to try to solve those problems at all. But also, I began to reorient my life around, okay, that day of rest is coming. And it gave me a boost to get through the end of the week. It gave me a boost to start a new week. Really made a huge difference. And it even gave me permission over time to slow down and pace myself, even on the days that weren't full rest days. So I personally can testify to how significant rest has been to really transforming my life overseas. So after all of this exciting information that we have about rest, I have a question for you. With 10 being the ideal, well rested life. Okay, I think we are back. Sorry about that. Let me share my screen again. Yeah. So how are you doing with rhythms of rest? If you did type something in the box just then, It didn't come through for me, so please feel free to share again. I have been in a season of a lot of extra travel right now. And even when I travel, I usually try to organize myself to have one day that's just a day to myself each week. But I'm very excited right now because I'm actually beginning a reset this summer to take a little extra rest, and then from there build a very intentional rhythm moving forward. That is so exciting. I'm really excited. How about you? How are you doing when it comes to rest? So here's my challenge to you today. Give your brain and body permission to rest today. So often we think that I just have to get this done, this done, this done, this done. If I can ever just get ahead, then I can stop and rest. But we might have it backwards, because actually if we will stop and rest, we'll have the energy and the strength we need to get these things done. So here's your action step for today. Take at least one intentional hour, or if possible, a full day to rest sometime in the next week. During that time, don't do any problem solving or figuring things out. Don't focus on trying to work through a conversation that you think you need to have. Just let yourself recharge. If you can, enjoy something comforting, some good food, a warm bath, a favorite book, a nap, a walk outdoors. Why? Because this will reset your nervous system, moving you from survival mode into a calm, problem-solving state. You'll process new experiences better, which will help your brain make sense of your new culture. Rest is where clarity happens, making the next steps of your journey easier to navigate. So, here is our homework for today. 2 reflection questions. What makes you feel rested and recharged? Make a list. When we're so exhausted, sometimes we can't even figure out these things. So give yourself permission, even now, to make a list of things that make you feel refreshed. Second, how can you make rest a regular part of your routine? And how do you work that together with family, with various responsibilities? That's the reflection. Like I said before, the action step is to actually schedule some time for rest this week. If you can block out a whole day without obligations, you will be amazed at how much better your week will feel. But even if you can only block out 1 hour or one afternoon, giving yourself permission to just be is remarkably recharging. So the community connection prompt is to share with us in the Facebook community, the Culture Shock Hub, what is your plan to rest this week? How will you recharge and reset? Let's talk about it. And you may have noticed that the time, it's where I am, 9:33 p.m. This is usually an hour long, and tomorrow will be an hour long. But today I'm actually going to cut it a little bit short so that you'll have, if nothing more, the next 20 minutes to give yourself permission to just be, to just rest before you jump back into the rest of your day. So before we say goodbye, I just want to let you know that tomorrow might just be the most powerful day in our whole series, because we're going to talk about what really creates transformation, how to get unstuck from the inside out, the mindset reset that transforms. forms. So you definitely will not want to miss that. But give yourself permission to take a break today, even if it is just with the next 20-25 minutes before this hour that you had blocked off for this replay, for this live. Give yourself permission to just rest and to be and to not problem solve, and take a deep breath. I look forward to reconnecting with you tomorrow.